what is now your base case for tax reform?
Hey, morning, Alex. Firstly, thank you for starting me with the easy one. I don't think my base case has certainly not changed much because of this row with Senator Corker. You know, to some degree, I sort of agree with Kevin's final comments there, which are that in a certain respect, this is a bit irrelevant. Senator Corker is a known deficit hawk. You know, he's on record as saying that anything which adds even a penny to the deficit, he's not going to vote for. He sort of couched that by saying that he would take into account macroeconomic factors. So, you know, the dynamic scoring that we hear about may allow him to vote for that. But as somebody that's not seeking re-election, he won't feel under pressure to, to go against his core beliefs. So in that respect, that was always going to be a tough vote to get through, given, the lack of repeal of Obamacare, the lack of revenue offset that they seem to be able to find broad-based agreement on. So, yes, of course, it's incredibly tight for Republicans in the Senate. I think the most likely path might involve them having to get some Democratic support, because I think to get the two wings of the Republican Party in the Senate on board was always going to be tough. So I still think they can do it, because I still think there is, electoral pressure for them to do so. It's tough for the Democrats really to vote against the sort of package that's seen as a giveaway. If anything, that's a bit of a Democratic policy. So I'm hopeful. I'm not necessarily expectant. I still think we can get something done. It's probably dialed back from what we've seen so far, but still broadly supportive for the economy.
Well, fair enough. I said yesterday, you're going to have Chuck Schumer now on speed dial from the White House. Jack, how about you? I want to show you this chart that I found really interesting. It's about small caps. To come inside the Bloomberg here, the blue line is small caps earnings revisions. You see them much lower in the last 6 weeks versus the Russell 2000 has seen a huge rally in the last 2 weeks. That is on tax reform. What's going to matter for markets in general? Is it going to be tax reform? Is it going to be earnings? Jack?
I think it's earnings. I will say that the prospect of tax reform and any legislative action actually has come to life over the last 6 weeks or so. If you look at small caps, large caps, you look at the slope of the yield curve. So there is this, this opportunity out there. But that's really a one-off. I don't see that as necessarily the panacea that will, move us from 2% growth path to a 3% growth path. I think the bottom line is it's earnings, and as we know that analysts have cut earnings growth, that trajectory in half for Q3 because of the hurricanes, but have really ramped things up for Q4 and into next year. So, I think that they look at the storms as a speed bump along a pretty steep path, and we'll see if companies can actually deliver on those expectations.